On the morning of September 11th, 2001, Americans witnessed 19 militants associated with Al-Qaeda hijack 4 airplanes and carry out suicide attacks on New York, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania.
2,997. That is the number of lives that were taken needlessly on September 11. It is impossible to fully comprehend the devastating amount of loss we experienced that day.
The September 11 attacks marked a colossal shift in the way we identify as Americans. It transformed a generation of Americans, the communities we live in, and our world.
As the state of our nation changed forever, something we must never forget is the courage of our first responders on September 11th. That day we saw firefighters, paramedics, policemen, and countless other emergency responders rush to aid people in need.
While 9/11 is etched into our memories as one of the most tragic days in American history, it is also a day we witnessed the inspiring strength and united spirit of our fellow Americans.
A tragic event such as this is life-changing, and I, like many of you, can remember exactly where I was and what I was doing. As a police officer and first responder, I was even more devastated when I saw how many first responders were lost.
On that day, we lost 342 New York firefighters and paramedics, 23 New York police officers, 37 Port Authority police officers, 125 military personnel, and over 3,000 civilians who perished in our Twin Towers, airlines, and on the ground.
We lost mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, family, friends, and young children not old enough to walk.
Hundreds of men and women in uniform sacrificed their lives so that others could live.
First responders did not hesitate to risk their lives as they stood beneath smoking towers.
The police officers and firefighters working that day ran into the buildings to save lives, and in this process, they lost theirs.
September 11 also marks the largest loss of emergency responder life in U.S. history.
Over 2 decades have passed, but this is still heavy in our hearts and fresh in our memory.
To honor the memory of nearly 3,000 lives lost, we must continue to strengthen our bonds as a community, no matter what obstacles we face.
And we witnessed everyday people step up and offer water, shelter, and comfort, by those actions becoming heroes in their own right.
And in that dark moment, we also saw resiliency, strength, and compassion, and love rise. We embraced and held each other strong, and we committed to never give up and to never forget.
While these horrific attacks were meant to destroy our spirit as Americans, it only ignited a fierce unity in us as a nation.
For the families and anyone directly impacted by the events, we know not a day goes by that you aren't thinking about the loved ones taken from you.
It is now our job to remember those who are gone and persevere through hardships that may come our way as a united community.
Today we gather here to remember and give tribute to those who bravely and unselfishly gave their lives, and to continue to honor their memories and ensure their presence will always remain with us.
In Montebello, we celebrate Patriot Day to recognize and acknowledge the bravery we saw that day 21 years ago.
Lastly, I ask that you continue to keep the families and those still affected by this tragedy in your prayers.
While nothing we can say will ever erase the pain you might feel, we in Montebello will continue to honor the lives that were lost by preserving their memory, not only on September 11, but every day.
To the brave people who lost their lives that day, you will not be forgotten. To the heroes who sacrificed their lives, we will always be grateful.
So again, thank you firefighters, police officers, first responders, civilians, and all servicemen and women who were there that day working together to save countless lives.
Today we recommit ourselves to serve and safeguard our communities and our country in times of need and crisis.
On September 11, we lost too many, but we also saw countless patriots risk their lives to help their fellow man. Today and every day, we honor them.